Hey guys, Dr. Shook here. I hope you're doing well today. What I want to talk to you about is I'm going to give you a little bit of information on gluten and Hashimoto's. Now, a lot of people have been exposed and are aware that there's a connection between gluten and Hashimoto's, but there's a lot of misunderstanding. I assume a lot of times people know things that I've been exposed to for several years, and so I try not to make those assumptions anymore because there's so many people that haven't heard any of this stuff that I teach. Sometimes when you live and you do something very commonly and frequently, you take a lot of things for granted and you forget that there's a lot of people that don't understand some of the topics that we're talking about. So I want to make sure that I cover some basic things with you guys that I think are really profound and that have a very significant impact, like basics, I would say, as far as understanding Hashimoto's and even autoimmunity goes. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is this connection between Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune thyroid connection, against TPO, which is an enzyme inside the cells of your thyroid, and it can also be against thyroglobulin, which is a protein inside the cells of your thyroid. Okay, so your immune system attacks those, destroys them. Both of those things are required to produce thyroid hormone. So if you're destroying the TPO and you're destroying the thyroglobulin, you're going to have a decreased capacity to make thyroid hormone. And so that's why a lot of people that have Hashimoto's result in have hypothyroidism. And with prolonged Hashimoto's, there's destruction of the cells of the thyroid, and that results in decreased capacity to make thyroid hormone going forward. So people that have Hashimoto's, if they can dampen the autoimmunity early on, maybe they'll have the capacity to make enough hormone without a replacement. But if it's a prolonged autoimmunity against the gland, it's more and more likely that you're going to need to take a supplement, a hormone replacement for life, and that's okay. All right, I just want you to know that's okay. Thyroid hormone replacement is something. Thyroid hormone is vital to life, and that's something that you need. But what I really want to share is when we talk about this autoimmune process of Hashimoto's. A lot of people have heard about it, know about it. A lot of people don't know about it. So that's why we're going to talk about it today. Gluten, which is a protein in wheat, has been found to be there's an association between a sensitivity or immune reactivity to gluten, or more specifically gliadin. Some people call it gliadin. I call it gliadin, but it's a protein inside inside wheat that your immune system reacts to. And when your immune system reacts to gliadin, it produces antibodies, and these antibodies are like, I tell people they're kind of like sticky notes. These little antibodies float through the bloodstream, and anything that they see foreign that's coming into the bloodstream, let's say it's a bacteria, or let's say it's an unrecognizable food protein like gliadin, to some people, not everyone, but some people, these antibodies will stick to the gliadin, marking it, tagging it as foreign, so that other immune cells can come along and destroy it. Now, the thing is that what the connection we believe is here is that the gliadin has a protein. It is a protein. Okay, proteins. Think of this. Some people have no concept of some of these terms or what a protein is. Okay, just think of this. Okay, visualize in your mind a chain with 10 links. Right, so it has 10 links, and each one of those links are colored. That's a color, like red, blue, green, yellow, orange, right? And so there's all this mixed pattern of different links of the chain that are different colors, okay? Now, in a protein, okay, a protein is kind of like that. It's like this chain, and each one of the links in a protein is called an amino acid, okay? Amino acids are linked together to make a protein. So if we can just envision in our mind a chain with different colors, each of the colors being a different amino acid. The differences in proteins of the body are basically differences in the sequence of these, or the order of these amino acids. Now here's the interesting thing. With gluten, or with the gliadin, for example, there's a sequence of these amino acids. With thyroid peroxidase, or TPO, now remember, I said earlier, Hashimoto's is an autoimmune attack against TPO, or against the thyroglobulin inside the cells of the thyroid. It also has a sequence of amino acids. The sequence of amino acids of the gliadin, the wheat protein, and the amino acid sequence of the TPO are similar enough that some people's, when they make antibodies, right, when gliadin comes in the bloodstream and they make antibodies, their immune system sees the gliadin as foreign, this wheat protein. They make antibodies against it. They produce these antibodies that stick to the gliadin. These antibodies circulate through the bloodstream and are looking for that amino acid sequence. They can, a lot of times, and there's a lot of people that they can actually attach these antibodies against gliadin, can attach to your TPO antibodies, or to your TPO, sorry, to your TPO enzyme in the thyroid. And what happens is there's this thing called cross-reactivity, where you make an antibody against gliadin, for example, and then it attaches to your thyroid peroxidase in the thyroid cell, because your immune system cannot tell them apart, because the amino acid sequence, like part of that chain, looks so similar in both of the proteins that the immune system can't tell them apart, and the amino acid, the antibody attaches to it. Okay, so that is called cross-reactivity. An antibody that's made for one protein actually attaches to another one that it was not necessarily designed to attach to. And it's mistaken identity. And so that process where the amino acids look very, very similar, or the amino acid sequence is similar, that's actually molecular mimicry. And that's structural molecular mimicry. So what happens is that your TPO and your gliadin look very similar. So structurally, the length of the chain, right, a part of the chain, the sequence of acids, so part of the chain looks very similar, right? Parts of the protein look very similar, so similar that the antibodies attach to them. Okay, so that's the primary concept I want to share with you guys in today. I mean, the main thing is to keep in mind that gluten tends to be associated more likely has a greater association with Hashimoto's. We see that there's a greater incidence rate of Hashimoto's disease in people with celiac disease. Celiac disease is a full-blown autoimmune condition against gluten, right? It causes massive GI tract inflammation. And you know, the interesting thing about that, just as a side note about celiac, is that most people with celiac are asymptomatic, no symptoms. So they don't even have nausea or digestive symptoms, yet they have this raging autoimmune condition against their small intestine that can absolutely decimate it and cause major problems. So anyway, I'm going to talk to you guys in another video about some of these other issues with gluten, but this one's going a little bit long anyway, and I just want, so we've got some basic concepts, right? We know that there's a greater association with gluten and Hashimoto's. So if you have Hashimoto's and you have not tried a gluten-free diet, don't wait any longer and start implementing a gluten-free diet for, do it for 100% strict. You can't be just a little bit. I like to see people do it for at least 4 weeks, gluten-free, 100% gluten-free. But if they can do it for at least 2, that's at least something. But you have to be 100%. You can't get crumbs of gluten into your diet. And I'll talk about some of that on another video about how long the immune reactivity will persist once you get an exposure. Okay? So anyway, I hope this has helped you guys out. If you have any questions or you need anything, just let me know. But I appreciate you coming here to learn more about your health. Thanks.